they come out clean.
Get them ready. Get them ready.
Oh man, y'all got the setup. I see.
Every week.
What's good, y'all, man? Hey, Birds and Buckies, man. We back in this thing. All-Star post-break edition of the All-Star. Got here with my co-host, Malik Brown. Malik, how you doing?
What's going on? What's going on? Same old, man. The grind don't stop. Grind don't stop.
I heard that. And our guest today, you know, we've had a few guests on the show in the past. But hold on. We got to welcome him, Malik.
We got to get him in. Got to welcome him in.
Hawks
Birdman.
Twitter.
I see y'all.
Hawks Twitter. I said Hawks Twitter. Y'all might know this, man. It's one of the most underrated members of Hawks Twitter. You might be sleeping on him. All right? You heard? This is my guy right here from the DMV. Oh, in the DMV right now. We're going to get into all the specifics later. We're going to get into all the specifics later.
Yeah.
Shout out my guy.
Let's be.
Oh, go ahead.
I said, let's just be correct, man. I don't want people to get it mixed up, man.
I got you. All right. Here we go. You might know him on Twitter as Philwood. You might know him as Philwood on Twitter.
Right.
We got my guy, David Singleton in the building, man. David, how you doing?
What's going on, man? What's going on? Can y'all hear me good?
What's good, David?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. Set up good,
Awesome.
everything like that.
Cool.
But yeah, man, first, you know, shout out to you on International Women's Day. Got on the WNBA hoodie, everything like that.
Hey, man.
This
was a hot commodity. This was hard to get to in the summer, and they sent me one of the the ones that wasn't as good. Like, but I was like, I'm not going to worry about it because like they were so hard to get. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take it because like the ones that the NBA players got, I was like, that's the one I want, and this is like the throwaway.
Oh, they didn't give you the LeBron one?
Nah, man, nah.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
They played you.
Yeah, he's equality, man. That's what we're going for. We want King James to get the same one as David. Me like that.
All right.
Exactly.
How's it supposed to go here? But man, you know, just speaking of the WNBA, everything like that, how do you feel about Renee Montgomery?
Dude, I'm really excited for her, man. Like, enjoy following her, like being a Hawks announcer, and I follow her on Twitter a lot, man. So she's, it's exciting for her, man. You know, to go from being a player on the team to now having an ownership stake, that's just wild, man. And you know, someone who knows the game as well as her and has success already to do that and like really, you know, that's a stacked resume, man. And then she's just quality. Like, hopefully with her new ownership stake in the Dream, it doesn't take her away from the Hawks because I feel like, you know, it's nice having that quality analysis right there. We got one of the best teams on TV, like as far as like breaking down the Hawks. So, you know, that's why I watch from the hometown feed as opposed to anything else.
That's an interesting take. Malik. How you feel about the broadcast team and everybody over there?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm glad Renee came on because honestly, like I've been listening to the same two people for years now. It was time I'm ready to hear something new. So, and she she got some swagger to her. So I love it.
I like the Stinger though. I like the Stinger. I rock.
Yeah,
with
Stinger's
Stinger
cool.
Heavy. I rock with Stinger.
Yeah, man.
Heavy.
And I got a feeling I know who, you know, probably the person that's not the favorite, but you know, he had to get better.
we don't talk about legends with statues on this podcast.
That's a bad shot.
Yeah.
Hey, when I get my statue, then I can talk. Then I get, you know what I'm saying? Then I can be like, man, I can't stand him on the podcast, man. My statue's bigger than his. But until that day.
But you know, hey, I'll say this: he's gotten better. Because look, man, I remember and like, you know, early on, man, it was.
Is when he dunks the ball, he's got to make it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And you're like, okay, all right, man.
I rock with Neat though. I rock with Neat. Heavy, especially after, you know, when Hank passed, you know, just everything he was saying with that and everything like that and everything. But yeah, but before we get too far into it, you know, the Ice Tray jerseys behind you, man. Just how do you feel about the All-Star game and it being in Atlanta and no Ice Tray?
I was one of the people who chose not to watch because I was like, if it was going to be in Atlanta and we don't have any representation, not in the All-Star game, not in any of the skills competitions or anything like that, I'm like, I'm not worried about it.
Tony Snell.
So-
Especially like we had.
No, go ahead, David.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially because like we had 3 Hawks legends, 3 dunk contest winners judging the contest this year, and I don't know if John didn't get an invite or if he turned it down, because I felt like with the favoritism that was shown in past competitions where he didn't get the points he deserved, this would have been the good year. And I'm like, so yeah, since there was nobody representing the Hawks, I wasn't worried about it.
Well, salute to John. I respect John. I do not want to see John Collins in the dunk contest.
Bruh.
Malik, are you open to seeing a John Collins revenge? Hey, are you?
Bruh, nah, bro. Look, no, when he was in the dunk contest that one time, and he did, I forgot what dunk he did, but I feel like it went over everybody's head. Like, after he did it, he was like, y'all don't get it? Like,
when he clipped the plane?
yeah,
No,
when he clipped the plane, bruh. They was playing him, bruh.
You can't clip the plane, bro. You can't clip the plane, bro.
Man, look, it is what it is. Because, I mean, like, one, that plane, it wasn't like he had a little tiny plane, man. Like, he jumped over, like, this gigantic.
Then bring a smaller plane. Bring a smaller plane. You didn't see Blake Griffin. If Blake Griffin couldn't jump over the Kia, then Blake Griffin bring out a smaller car. If Blake Griffin couldn't jump over a minivan, Blake Griffin's not going to jump over a minivan. So he got a car, a convertible, top back, something. And yeah, I wouldn't say it's light, but it's easier. You go ahead.
That dunk gets overhyped a lot, bro. Cause he dunked over the hood, bro. He didn't even dunk over like the legit, like the whole car.
I look, man. I share the same opinion because for years I was like, man, he went over the hood of the car. It wasn't all that. He played I Believe I Can Fly on the Black Ground, and I felt like that was just cheesy. So I've never been that impressed with that dunk. I'm impressed that he can jump over a car, but compared to what other NBA players can do, I'm like, it's whatever.
But y'all have to understand that the presentation, the show of it is a part of the score.
True.
So I was like, when you do something that no one's ever seen, you bring a car on. Like, we seen that in street, what I'm saying, in Venice Beach, I see it a lot, whatever, where they do that on a dunk contest. But I never seen that in an NBA dunk contest. So when they brought it out, and then again, I'm like, what, maybe 16 maybe at this time? Like, what I'm saying? So I think that plays a part into it too, of being young and just being, oh, yeah, bro, on the court. The car is driving on the court right now. Yeah, turn on team. Like, what I'm saying? Like, that whole thing is like, it gets you hyped and everything for. I don't know. I like the dunk still because. Well, okay. How do y'all feel about Dwight Howard's dunk, Superman?
So I was a fan of Dwight's dunks. I thought he got a little. They didn't get the respect they deserved because everybody talks about how he threw the ball down as opposed to actually like dunking in the rim. But I'm like, at the height that he jumped and what he was doing, I'm like, it's still impressive one way or another. And I think I looked at the definition at the time, and I'm like, it met the definition of a dunk. But I understand everybody's gonna feel a certain way.
True. No, it was impressive. It was impressive. Like you said, he really didn't legit like dunk it, but I mean, like you said, you looked at the definition, so it's a dunk. But I guess,
dude,
Malik, be real though. In that moment, how did you react when you saw that dunk? Because me, I went stupid. He came out with the cape, put on the cape, and then the angle they shot it from live was like from behind, so you couldn't even tell.
Yeah, true. Nah.
So when he did it, I was like, I was going nuts. Like, that was like some incredible stuff. And then, like afterwards, that's when everybody did the debate on whether it was a dunk or not and stuff. But I loved it, man. I loved it.
Yeah, that was nice. I liked it.
Dude, I've been all in on, originally on Dwight for a while because I remember seeing him play in high school, watching him destroy my high school team. And so when he made it to the league and he's having the success he had, man, I was happy for him. So when he had that dunk contest, I was like, yo, it's a dunk. I'm not going against the hometown person.
Yeah.
Can't do that. And then speaking of, like we said, I brought up the DMV in the intro. Get it right for the people. Your story, where you're from, get it right.
Yeah, man. So born in Atlanta, raised in College Park, went to Morehouse, came up here in like 2012, and I've been up here since. So, but my love for the Hawks and my fandom is like deep. So I always like to tell people I've been a fan since 13 and 69. Like that horrible, horrible season, man. Like I've been around to see some rough teams, man. Like at times where before, when you would say you're a Hawks fan, people just look at you like, why? Like when you really had to defend being a Hawks fan to people. I'm talking about against, out of towners or against other locals, man. So, now that we have somebody like Trey, we're coming off, even though we've gone through this period of not making the playoffs, we had a long stretch before then. I'm like, this is a good time to be a Hawks fan compared to what it was, man. Because I remember Speedy Claxton, man, thinking he was gonna save us.
Speedy Claxton.
I remember the one game with Rashad and getting hyped up. I was in high school, man. Being like, yo, we finally got a star. Rashad came in, did his thing. We didn't get the win. And then next game, he was gone. I'm like, yo.
He's like, so much more appealing to watch than Sharif Abdul-Rahim. Why did we get rid of him?
Dude, Sharif, I'm talking about like, yo, who was on them teams? I pulled up the roster because I was like, yo, when did I really get into the Hawks? And I think it was like Dan Dickow, like a Watch Tony Koo coach, stuff like that, man. Like
Glenn Robinson, big dog.
Dude, Antoine Walker, who took a contract so he could pay off his gambling debts, man. I'm talking about like he was just coming down chucking threes.
Oh man, like that though.
Wait, hold on. And in the midst of this, like reminiscing of Hawks, we got a lot of hate last episode. So I want to just clarify something. I want to clarify something, but people don't actually watch the things. They just read the title and then go on. So, anyways, Malik and I are journalists. We are reporters now. So since we covered the team and we had to draw back, and we're no longer fans of the team, we're no longer fans of the Hawks. We got to cover the Hawks down the middle and be fair. We both grew up in Atlanta, so we both grew up Hawks fans. But now we are no longer Hawks fans. So all this. Oh, you didn't defend the team. You call yourself Hawks fans. You're fake. Go cry over there. Go get listen to the Hawks fan podcast. Listen to a podcast called Hawks Fans United or something like that. Because we are not that. We are reporters now. We had to detach from our childhood team and everything like that. We are down the middle. That's why people hate Brad Rowland. Brad's my guy.
Yeah, true. He get a lot of flack. Yeah,
he get a lot of, and Brad grew up a diehard Hawks fan just like yourself. Go ahead.
Dude, I'll say I used to be that way against him, man. Like when I first started following BT Rowland, like early on, I was like, yo, because he wasn't saying what I wanted to hear. Like he had criticism of the team that when you want to hear, we're gonna win, we're gonna be NBA champions, especially during that run we had the 60-win team, and he's like, hey man, don't get too excited. You're like, that's not what I want to hear. But what really like made me like, yo, you know what? I respect him and I always follow him and I go to that podcast a lot is that a lot of the stuff he said was right. The thing he pointed out as being flaws in the team going through the playoffs and why we weren't going to have the success that we wanted as fans, he was spot on. And so like, he's actually, I feel like he tries to be really, really objective early on. I feel like he's kind of giving people a little bit more. There are people who are like, yo, you're too hard on him. And I'm like, yo, y'all weren't here for the early days, man. Like, he was really hard on the team before.
But you have to think on his end, like I said, like, Brad is someone, you say you got into the team around the 13-win era. Brad, that season, he was, college age, late high school. And he worked his butt off. A lot of people don't know this. He worked his butt off to purchase season tickets in the nosebleeds back then. Yeah. That's how big of a fan he was. That 13-win season, as a broke college student, he worked his butt off just to purchase. That's how big of a Hawks fan Brad Rowland is. So a lot of people was, growing up. So you have to think to go from that and then trying to establish yourself as a legitimate media member to get that. He had to go polar opposite and go polar, anti-Hawk. But a lot of people in the industry don't get this stuff. But it is what it is. It's always going to be people like that. But I ain't no
Yeah,
hater.
because people hate Chris Kirshner. Boy,
Yeah,
after he dropped
exactly.
that
People
John and Trey thing, boy, Hawks Twitter
Yeah.
was like, why aren't you a fan? Like, dude, he just covers the team. He's not a fan.
No, and he's made that pretty clear. Like he writes good
Yeah.
articles. And I do think there've been a couple of clickbait articles from the Athletic, but overall, man, the journalism's been good, man. And like they've got some insight. And like he's done a good job. Like he's the only reason I subscribe to the Athletic. That's the first news publication I paid for. So that says something about them. Yeah.
And shout out to that latest piece they did on Lloyd Pierce. But before we go too far off into All-Star and other stuff, before we run out of time, we want to make sure we get to the Hawks and stuff. So speaking of Lloyd Pierce, Malik, we predicted the week going into it. I said they were going to lose every game. I did not expect them to fire Lloyd Pierce after the first loss and then win every game after that. So
that's crazy.
I think that kind of throws out my prediction out the way just because I didn't expect that. You know what I'm saying? So my question to y'all is, obviously I feel like anytime you get a new voice in the room, interim, those first couple of games, those guys are going to be gassed to want to kind of prove whether to prove the front office that they were wrong, that they fired the coach, or in this case, which it seems like they didn't really like Lloyd like that, they want to prove that they were right and Lloyd was the problem. So it's like that emotional high only lasts for a couple of games. So my question is, what do you think it's going to take for the Hawks in the second half to continue winning and, make a good push in the postseason and towards the postseason now?
Yeah, so I don't know if you're waiting for somebody else to go, but that reaction to a change in coaching and trying to prove that wrong is going to be consistency. Like consistency from the players. And I think we see it, especially on the defensive end. Like Trey has been putting in effort there. And there's only so much you can expect him as far as being effective because of his size. But the effort's been there. He's been getting on the ground, taking charges, and like really putting in the effort. John has gotten better. But it's like that sustained thing. And that's, I feel like it's a broken record with the Hawks. It's always something that's that little piece that we're trying to find. It's either we don't do well early on, and then we pick up the pace and we do better later on, but we dug ourselves too deep of a hole, or we're doing so well and then we let off the gas a little bit, and then that's when another team gets the momentum and it's just hard to come back. But mainly, if hopefully with getting a healthy roster, I think that's the biggest thing. Getting a healthy roster, guys committed on both ends of the floor to the best of their ability, and just trying to see that consistency of being able to say, like, we're not going to let off if we get a good lead in the first half or the first three quarters, and then kind of relax in the fourth quarter. Because I feel like that's the thing that just happens with young teams. And, if we can fix that, we'll be in a better spot to have a good place in the playoffs and at least get some experience there.
Yeah, I think, like you said, effort for sure is number one. And, of course, getting healthy is second. I think what I saw from them in the past two games is I think Nate McMillan has been doing something different with the rotations, which it's been working. Getting Bogdanovich back is a big plus, but I know when Pierce was coaching, he was, of course, you had Skylar Mays coming on, but I don't even think the past two games Skylar Mays has played. Like, Rondo has been playing those legit, like, backup point guard minutes, and he's actually looked good because, we can say the entire season Rondo's been up and down, but when you have Gallinari, who has been on fire like the past two games, and then you have Bogdanovich coming back, that really helps the second unit. So, like you said, if they get healthy, of course, they're going to be better. I know Cam, they just said something about Cam is in a walking boot now, so Lord knows when he'll get back. And they're still waiting on Hunter. Don't know about Hunter. Chris Dunn hasn't played yet. So this team is still a mystery. So, but the most they can do is just keep competing, like keep fighting.
The thing is about injuries is I see so many times with so many different teams around the league of like people are always like, once they get healthy, once they get these guys back, they're going to be good. And a lot of times that never comes. That never happens. And get eliminated first round, and they're like, dang, they were just waiting for Ben Simmons to get back. They were just waiting for, I think Philly's like a prime example of that happens every single year. Where like
the old Clippers teams.
Yeah, the old Clippers teams.
Right.
Exactly. And
I think.
Yeah.
No, I just think we need timing. Like, it's best case scenario, guys come back and they stay healthy, our playoff run. But even if we get guys healthy again with enough time at the end of the season for them to build up momentum, and we haven't dug ourselves a hole where it's like, no, we're not making the playoffs this year. I think that's a better spot. Like, I'd love to get Hunter back as soon as possible just because of how effective he was in the court. Getting Cam back because we need that other defensive presence. So, you know, it's just, you hope for the best, man. But shoot, man, I don't want to let my pessimism of how things go for Atlanta sports and my Hawks in general to cloud me thing.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm really optimistic because I'm really optimistic if you know, checks, and that goes to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because it's like you know, Sarah put out, shout out to Sarah. She put out the story that you know, Dunn could be back before the end of March. If Dunn's back by the end of March, and come on now, if Dunn's back by the end of March, if Hunter's back by the end of March, and then you got who's the third person that's hurt or something? Cam. Cam, you know, and then Cam gets back by the end of March and they can get something going. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be really tough because you were talking about, you know, getting too far behind in the East to not even make the playoffs. I think the East is so bad this year that's not a possibility.
It is.
You know, like
that's definitely the case.
There'll always be a couple games in it.
And I think even BT said something on the last podcast about us being like, you know, just a few games out of the running. So it's not about where we are right now. I just kind of worry, like, man, if things don't continue on the path where they are right now, where we won a couple of games, we kind of keep this going, you know, guys kind of revert back and we just kind of hit a string of, you know, tough teams that we're digging ourselves in a hole that when we get Hunter back and we get Cam back and Dunn's back eventually, that it's not something that's easily overcome based on past performance. But I'm hoping for the best, you know?
And I think fans are not even looking at it like they stressing too much. Cause it's like, if you really look at it, the Hawks are what, 16-20? And I know shout out to Hawksbeat. Like, he always puts these stats going like, on this day the Hawks defeated the somebody and they were like 16-40 something, and they're like 16-20 now. Like, nobody's really giving them that much credit. Like, it's the expectation thing. Like, fans has so many expectations coming into the season. They're not even realize that the Hawks have like greatly improved from the past two seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're paying guys $100 billion,
I guess.
like they didn't pay Rondo a gajillion dollars to look like the way he's looked. So I understand the fans' frustration. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't just come out of like I feel like that's the side that like everybody who's saying that, like E and stuff, they're kind of ignoring. Like, they paid Gallo $1 billion. Like, when Gallo went 8 for 8 and like had 38 points on like all 3-pointers. Like, it's like they kind of paid him to do that, you know? Like, they paid him to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like Bogdanovich, like when Bogdanovich goes off, isn't that like Bogdanovich? You know, like it should be.
It's like, that's why you're here.
They paid him that much money. So I mean that's just my take on it and stuff like that. And I think it pretty much just goes back to like the Atlanta sports like fan pessimism thing. Like, it's kind of beat into their head. Like, you know, they're trained to expect the worst, you know? So, you know, that's what
I mean, but like, man, look, but if you've been around long enough, it's how you protect yourself, man, because you've seen so much. Cause look, I've been there where I've been like, no, we're going to do it. And then you run into the realities of certain situations, or it's just bad luck, man. Like, I mean, it's a different sport, but like, I remember, yes, man. I remember the 60-win team and watching that team and being like, yo, this is our chance. And then, you know, Villanova came into the picture and just ruined everything.
Police brutality. That's the thing I don't.
All of that.
Who would have thought police brutality would have stopped the 60-win Hawks? Police brutality. Who could have scripted that? Okay, all right.
Cephalosha getting beat down.
So NYPD beating. Who the heck is gonna even think of that?
That came out of nowhere.
But it's only Atlanta sport, and that's why you learn to protect yourself, because you're like, man, like, yo, what if there's something that's going to happen? Unfortunately, you feel like it's going to happen to us. Like, like I said, different sport. I remember Super Bowl. Nobody likes to talk about it. I remember watching that, being like, yo, we're up, and the people we were watching it with were like, yo, y'all are beating the hell out of them, and they fell asleep. And I was like, hey, don't, it's not over till it's over.
Everybody from
sure
Atlanta knew. Everybody from
So that's
Atlanta
the thing,
knew.
Right.
And it extends to seeing things with the Hawks where we've seen like, yo, man, this is our squad. It's about, we got to do something. And then unfortunately something happens. And so like you get to the point of kind of being pessimistic just because you're like, it's how you protect yourself. Because man, when you get so emotionally invested in the team, that just hurts.
Nah,
To say the least, for sure. But Malik, you got anything?
So do you wholeheartedly believe the Hawks are going to make the playoffs? Wholeheartedly.
No, I'm confident we'll make the playoffs. Like, I think there's enough. Like, I've seen certain things. Like, Nate is willing to call those timeouts when the momentum changes, and I think that's a big thing. Pierce had a different philosophy, and I'm more in line with what Nate does as far as like, hey man, they're gonna run, call a quick timeout, stop that, and let's regroup. Trey's been playing phenomenal right now, and so same thing with John. Like those guys are clicking. So I think if we can keep this up, like I said, once we get those guys back, nobody else goes out on a serious injury, and even when we start incorporating some of the other players, I think we'll be in a good spot. Like you said about the East, I think despite us not there being like 4 games below 500, if we win 2 more, we're in like the number 6 spot.
Sure.
All right,
Yeah.
hot take time. Let's turn it up a notch. Here we go.
All right.
Hey, Malik, time to get the title.
Let's get it. It's time to get the title.
All right, here we go. A lot of people have said this. A lot of people have talked about this in Hawks Twitter. I want to know your thoughts on it. The Hawks matchup, it seems like the Hawks match up pretty well with the Nets. Nets just get Blake Griffin. Everybody's kind of written them off as the Eastern Conference champions. My question to you, if the Atlanta Hawks and the Brooklyn Nets face off in the first round, no. Say the Hawks get like the 10th seed. Hawks get the 10th seed. They win the play-in tournament. So now they face the Brooklyn Nets in the second round, technically. Do the Atlanta Hawks beat the Brooklyn Nets in the 7-game series?
So
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Dunn is back. Everybody's back.
I'm gonna go with the Hawks on that just because we have a history of playing up to competition. I'd be more concerned if we played a team that we should beat in that first round. Like we play the Nets, we know we got to go with our A game. The guys are focused, and that's how it's always been, except when we run into LeBron. But anytime else, like we play a team that is worse than us, that we're like supposed to smack, like a Cleveland. And next thing you know, we're getting drugged, and I'm like, yo, what's happening? Like this was supposed to be our game. So I think we end up matched up against Brooklyn. It's not going to be like a gimme series. We're not going to go off and beat them, 4-0. But either we surprise some people or we upset a potential title contender season just because that's how it works out for us.
How many games?
Man, they would have to go to 7.
Hawks in 7. Hawks in 7. That's the title.
He said
Hawks in 7. That is. Hawks in 7 over the Hawks in 7 over the Brooklyn Nets.
Yo,
you heard it here first. Follow my man. Spell word.
Only for us to get matched up against only for us to get matched up in the next round against a struggling Cleveland or an Orlando team that we beat all season, and then it's like, yo, what happened?
Vucevic is getting 60. It's like, dang,
Yeah,
this man
somehow.
Vucevic, is he better than Hakeem Olajuwon?
Or one of those random Hawks killers, like a dude who's barely in the league right now, and somehow they're going off for like 40 points every night.
That's Terrence Ross.
Oh yeah, Terrence Ross. That's not Vooch. I apologize. That's disrespectful to Vooch. He been hooping. So yeah, Terrence Ross definitely going for a 40. He definitely averaging 40 in the series against the Hawks.
For sure.
But
I'm saying, man.
all right. So me, I guess I got to go now. Hawks and Nets in the 7-game series. I don't know if I could bet against KD in the 7 games, especially in the first round. So I'm gonna go with the Nets there in 6. I got the Hawks winning 2 games. Actually, it could be like the Boston series in 08. Could be like the Boston series in 08, but Game 7 on the road. Can Trey do it? I've seen some games this season where Trey, coaching or not, Trey, what I'm saying? He's built for these moments, what I'm saying? Shout out to Luka. Luka hit the shot last year against the Clippers. Think, stepped up,
True.
shut out the Los at the buzzer, but they still lost the series, because when time came down to it, Kawhi and PG were Kawhi and PG. And then, PG was no longer PG in the next round. But so based off of that, you're thinking KD and James Harden in a Game 7 situation, and Kyrie, because James Harden isn't really known as a playoff guy, regardless. He's played well in his new role. I got KD coming out, just willing them to a Game 7 win. So I got the Nets in 7.
I'm gonna take the Nets in 6, but Cam gonna average 30 because it seemed like every time.
Yeah, Cam. I forgot about that. Cam plays well against them.
Every time Cam see a Brooklyn Nets jersey, he just go crazy.
And Trey
That's
plays
the thing,
well
man. We might have
Blake.
the Nets killer.
Yeah, and Trey plays well against Blake.
True,
I'm
yeah.
saying my little hot take ain't seeming so hot, man.
But that KD though, we can't just ignore KD, the greatest scorer of our generation. You know what I'm saying? On the other end, that's the greatest scorer of our generation. 7 foot, doo. Whenever you want.
Yeah, Cam not stopping that Game 7. I hate to say it, he ain't stopping that Game 7.
Hey man, wilder things have happened, man. Like I said, the Hawks. It's just been my experience that the games that, the games we're supposed to lose, we've gotten destroyed too. But there have been those games where you're like, all right, we're coming into this, we're not the favorites, and then somehow everybody plays their best, and you're like, dang, we beat so and so. Like so, like last year, what was it? We beat the Lakers a couple. Like I think how many games we went against the Lakers last year where
they
it was like.
Well, I think. Well, okay, Trey's rookie year, it came down to the buzzer. Remember, Trey went to the lane. Tyson Chandler blocked the buzzer. That was the rookie year on the road, and then at home the Hawks won. Last year the Hawks, I think they got swept. Like because that's when LeBron
Cam missed the open 3 on the side.
Because look, LeBron in transition did the between the legs thing to Dwight behind his back, and Dwight threw it down in Atlanta. Remember that?
Gotcha.
And then in LA, that's when Kobe showed up. RIP. Second to last game. Last game was Hawks Nets. Kobe was at Hawks, got blown out by 50. Charlie Brown Jr. got in the game.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because they had just got blown out the night before against the Clippers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then got blown out by the Phoenix. Yeah, that was the worst road trip I ever seen in my life.
And they got an game coming up too.
I have memory of Trey like crossing LeBron, and in my mind that was a win. So I'm like, we did well against Lakers.
That was. You're thinking about rookie year. You're thinking about rookie year with the powder blue jerseys in Atlanta. They won that game. Yeah, Trey crossed them and then did this with the and one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They won that game. That was rookie year. Last year they got swept. But okay, all right. Moving on. We got 6 minutes left. So say next round. I just want to. This is fun to me. Next round, Philly.
Ooh.
Hawks usually match up well with Philly.
They play Philly good. They play Philly real good. Man, these are actually teams they play good against, but it just doesn't seem possible.
Y'all got the Hawks going to the conference finals right now?
That's what I'm saying.
Dude.
Is that the title? Hawks to the conference finals?
Look, man. I feel like if I bet against the Hawks on that, like I'll look up and somehow in the playoffs, it's like, yo, man, we beat Philly. See, the thing is, I know we played well against them, but I know we've had trouble with centers like Joel Embiid. Like, we've struggled there. Now, Clint has definitely made a difference this season, but right now I can't remember how he done against Philly with him and John. Because I know, like, before, as excellent of a player as John is, like, when we played, like, taller, bigger post players, that's when he's had trouble.
And Embiid gave the Hawks 50 last year.
Was that like at the beginning of the season?
It was in Philly. That's all I remember. Because at the time, it was his career high at the time. He's past that now because, he's just playing on another level this season. But yeah. So
I mean, even when they played the Hawks earlier this season, and I think that's when everybody was out for the Sixers. And B had 25 in the first half, and I think he sat or something. Like I forgot what happened, but yeah, he was going crazy on them.
All right, I'm gonna pick Philly in 6.
I got Philly in 5.
Yeah, I think my Hawks can get at least 2 games, so I'm gonna go with that 6. But
Okay, I thought he was about to say it for a second. Okay, all right.
I mean, look,
Hawks
you know
is
what?
6.
Look, dude, if there's anybody who's willing to get irrational and just go all in, I'll do it. But you know what, man? This is more than a Twitter take, man. So,
But okay, but look, hypothetical. They get to the next round, Milwaukee.
Nah.
Yeah,
Sweet. They don't play good against the Bucks at all.
the only thing we can bank on is Coach Bud just having to constantly do out of timeout, after timeout plays.
Oh,
If we can just have the entire game be, sideline out of bounds plays or like after timeout plays, I think we have a chance. But beyond that, man, it's hard to bet against the Bucks.
I'm gonna go Bucks in 5. I'm gonna give the Hawks a game. I'm gonna give the Hawks. That's being it's the conference finals. Hawks getting swept in the conference. We know how that goes.
But David just came up with a great point though. Coach Bud is what, like 0 and what in the conference finals?
Yeah. He's pretty bad in the conference finals.
Yeah, but
Did they even make the conference?
Though.
They didn't make the conference finals last year in the bubble.
No, they got beat by the Heat second round.
Yeah, second round, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So okay. Yeah, no. I got the Hawks.
There's no chance.
And I got
I'm gonna go.
No. Here's how it's gonna go if they face Milwaukee. They're gonna sign Kyle Korver back. They like, dang, this man ain't played in a year. He's 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle gonna get 60 on him, hit 23s. NBA record, 23s in a game. Kyle Korver. I'm just like, damn.
Dude, of course.
Against this old team. I just trust God. Jesus is the best. Black Lives Matter. I did this for Breonna Taylor. I'm like, dang, man, you beat the Harden.
I'm like, I'd be like, man, where was that during the 60-win season, bro?
Right.
Man,
Where was that? We
needed
you against LeBron, man.
That's how it always goes. But hey, time is out now. So that is the Hawks road to the finals if it were to happen. I hope you guys enjoy it. Everybody go around. Shout out your social.
Go ahead, you go first.
Yeah, man. On Twitter, Feltwood, same thing on Instagram, man. I appreciate the opportunity. I love talking about the Hawks, man. So, anytime if I can get it back on here, I'd love to.
Appreciate for coming on. You can find me at _Malik ATL on Twitter and Instagram.
Hey, RashadMilligan.com. You can follow me on Twitter at TheRealATL.
And if they come out clean.